Behind me is the all-new Maserati MC20, and today I'm going to show you 5 of its most insane features. First up is the engine. Not only is it the first in-house developed engine by Maserati in over 20 years, it also has some insane technology derived directly from Formula One. It's called the Nettuno, which means God of the Sea. It's a 3.5-liter twin-turbocharged V6, making 621 horsepower and 539 pound-feet of torque, which is good enough to rocket the MC20 from 0 to 60 miles an hour in just 2.9 seconds. But here's where things get really cool. It's hand-built and made of over 625 parts, and it borrows pre-chamber ignition from Formula One, the first time it's ever been used in a road car. Normally cars have 1 spark plug per cylinder, but this Maserati has 2, one in the main cylinder chamber and one in a small chamber located directly above the cylinder. During the compression stroke, the air-fuel mixture is pushed up into that smaller chamber at a perfect stoichiometric 14.7:1 ratio. Now, because of this, combustion happens a lot more quickly and thus reduces the likelihood of knock. Thereby, Maserati can increase compression by 15% on the MC20. Next up is the transmission, or more so, the way that it drives. To fire up the MC20, we've got a dedicated start-stop button on the steering wheel. It's an 8-speed dual-clutch automatic, but it has some of the most amazing driving characteristics of any modern transmission. We've got massive paddles on the column itself that can either be finished in carbon fiber or aluminum, but check out the driving experience. Dual-clutch automatics are an incredible invention. They give you all of the daily drivability of a conventional automatic, but then they give you really fast shift times. The only issue is, it's not a big issue, is that usually with traditional dual clutch cars the shifts are very, very quickly, so you don't actually feel them, which loses some of the drama of the previous generation gearboxes, the single clutch automated manual transmissions, like the Lamborghini Aventador. Well, that car is super clunky around town. There's no denying it's extremely fun on full throttle shifts. Well, this gearbox has provided something I've never seen before in a dual clutch automatic, and that is basically the best of all worlds. So we're in GT mode right now. We're cruising around and it feels like a traditional automatic. You don't feel the shifts whatsoever. It's super smooth. You could drive this car long distances, no problem at all. It's nice and comfortable. But then if you shift it over into Corsa mode, and let's go ahead and click manual, downshift a couple times, the shifts are violent, almost like a single clutch, and I love it. They kick you in the back in such a satisfying manner. I actually don't understand why more double clutch transmissions aren't tuned like this. It's actually phenomenal. The shifts are razor sharp, super fast. The downshift response is instantaneous. They absolutely knocked it out of the park with this gearbox. Good job, Maserati. Wow, this thing is fast. Third up is the design of the MC20. Over 2,000 man-hours were spent in a wind tunnel designing this car, which normally results in a vehicle that looks like a Toyota Prius. But somehow they've made it very aerodynamically efficient and gorgeous at the same time. I honestly think this is one of the best-looking supercars ever made. We've got air vents on the hood that help channel clean, cool air into the engine through this intake vent right here, but some of the trixiest magic of the aerodynamics are actually underneath the MC20 that you can't actually see. There are vortex generators on the underside to help improve downforce. And one thing I've never seen before in a car is there is actually this hump design right in line with the wheels that's basically farther down in the middle and then goes up towards the sides of the wheels to push airflow towards the wheels for additional brake cooling, which is really awesome. And then that airflow is pushed out through this vent here and down the side of the car. Now, according to Maserati, these butterfly doors were designed to improve downforce and aerodynamics as well. But let's be honest, they just look absolutely spectacular. I love the design of the doors, this beautiful forged carbon fiber on the inside, and the MC20 side blade right here just looks drop dead gorgeous. Coming around to the rear of the car, we've got a small integrated rear spoiler, as well as a larger carbon rear diffuser and that split dual exhaust. Overall, it's just an absolutely spectacularly designed car. And I also love the fact that we've got an integrated Maserati logo right here on the rear deck lid. Next up is the sound. Now, a lot of people are disappointed with the way the world is going. Well, in many ways, but in the automotive sense, cars are losing the V12s, the V10s, the V8s, and they're going to 6 cylinders and 4 cylinders. And while I'm sure both us and Maserati would have loved to put a V12 in the MC20 like they had in the MC12, it just obviously wasn't a possibility for a number of reasons. But I'm pleased to report that this 6-cylinder sounds absolutely incredible. Not only does it sound awesome on acceleration, but it also sounds awesome when you let off the gas. So flooring it, when you let off the throttle, these blow-off valves just blow air kind of right into your left ear in the most satisfying sound. It feels like it has aftermarket blow-off valves. And it's got instantaneous throttle response. Honestly, the throttle is so responsive, it almost feels like it has hybrid assist. And I'm imagining that has in part to do with that pre-chamber combustion, because I have really never felt a twin turbocharged car with this quick of response when you get on the throttle pedal. And then on full throttle acceleration, it sounds absolutely mean. This is one of the best sounding 6-cylinders in a V6 configuration ever. And honestly, in many ways, this car reminds me of the Ford GT. And the good news is you can get one of these used in the 230 to 240 range. They start brand new at 217. Obviously, you got to put some options on that. And at least for a while, they were going for over MSRP. I'm not positive if that's still the case, but I'd imagine so given some of the used prices. And a Ford GT is gonna cost you upwards of $1 million. And you're getting a similar driving experience, although this is a lot more comfortable over long distances. You've got that raw feel to it, where you can feel all of the little rocks and hear everything tinging against the carbon fiber, which just sounds so awesome. It makes it feel like a proper race car. The handling is super sharp, the suspension is stiff in Corsa mode, and that V6 just sounds phenomenal. But then when you put it into GT mode, it's also this luxurious cruiser. The speaker system is fantastic. The climate control works very well. We've got wireless and wired Apple CarPlay. It really is impressive, and probably one of the best daily drivers in terms of a supercar or a sports car that you could possibly get. Man, it's confidence inspiring too. It says ESC is off in Corsa mode, but I think we've still got some sort of intervention because it doesn't feel at the limit like it's gonna lose it. It's very predictable. Oh, that throttle is incredible. Oh my God. And it pulls like an absolute freight train. Oh my gosh. You know, it's only got 20 horsepower less than a Huracan Evo, but it weighs 200 pounds less and has way more torque. So it feels a lot faster than the Lamborghini. Oh man, this thing is so much fun to drive. Maserati did such a good job with this vehicle. Last up is the interior, and it is very, very nice in here. The seats are absolutely gorgeous, they're comfortable and supportive. Because you don't have a ton of visibility out of the back there, we've actually got a digital display for the rear view mirror, so you can see absolutely everything. You can push this down, but then you can see, yeah, your visibility is pretty limited. Check this out. This is the drive mode selector, which is now digital. Looks a lot better than when they first came out with the MC20 with different driving modes. So we've got wet mode. If we go into wet mode, it changes that instrument cluster right there. If we go into GT, it changes back. This is kind of the everyday driving mode. You go into sport mode, That'll make it louder, more responsive, and then my favorite mode, we go over to Corsa. You have to hold it, and then we get this horizontal tachometer that looks really, really cool. ESC is slightly reduced. Now, we've got a front lift button on the steering wheel itself, which is really, really nice. The steering wheel feels fantastic in your hands. I love the carbon fiber here on the top of the instrument cluster, as well as the MC20 logo, and the door cards. We don't have a lot of storage space in here. We do have this small little compartment, as well as one cup holder and some extra space behind the seats, but it's a pretty basic interior, but done so in the best way possible. I think it's absolutely gorgeous and looks like one of the highest quality interiors of any modern supercar. Now let's check out the infotainment screen right here, which is on the climate controls. The graphics are really, really nice. Now, one of my favorite parts is if we go to vehicle and my car, drive mode, explorer, we can go ahead and scroll through the different modes, and there's different graphics for each mode. So we are in Corsa mode. It shows you the difference between the responsiveness, the stiffness, the acceleration, electronic controls, and then we go into sport mode. Gives you a little bit of a difference there, as well as GT mode. I just think that is really, really well done. Now, to put the car into drive, you click this button here. You click it again to put it into manual mode for the transmission, and this is reverse. We obviously have a backup camera that works pretty well. Well, guys, there you have it. 5 insane features of the Maserati MC20. I've really enjoyed my week with this car. It is such a fantastic sports car and supercar, and Maserati has stepped their game up immensely. So I'm extremely excited to see more models come out from the brand, because if they're anything like this, they're headed on an incredible path. All right, guys, see you next video.